don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 613th episode of the Political Spotlight, and welcome to this very first ever episode numbered studio podcast show. Well, I don't know what this is not a podcast anymore in the traditional sense. That's the reason I scoff when people call me a podcaster. I'm not a podcaster. A podcaster is an audio-only format. But I don't like the term YouTuber either. That's just call me a political commentator, or don't call me at all. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever episode, only to be titled by a number. My God, it was so amazing. So amazing. This is the 613th episode of the Political Spotlight. I don't like how I did it. I'm probably going to switch it. It'll probably say the Political Spotlight - episode 613. But you live and you learn. We'll do a couple like this, and then we'll switch it. You know, I'm getting better at doing things like that. It is what it is. Hey, listen. This is going to be a busy week. Seems 6:13 seems like it just started. Yeah, it did just start. What are you talking about? I'm confused. Am I missing something? Hey. Hello there, Amanda. Hope you guys are doing as good as you can be doing at this point in time. I hope that you're I don't know. I don't really know. I just hope that you guys are doing as best as you can be, and that's that. So my thoughts and prayers are continuing to go out with you all. And that's where I'm at. Hey, listen to me. I really want to talk to you all, and you've been doing a really good job of this. Friday night's episode is really making some serious headway as far as getting the word out about what's going on. I'm not going to name who, but I have been in contact with a couple of what I would call pretty higher up level YouTube personalities, definitely people that people watched. One of them I wrote to, and I'll be honest, I didn't start with the Nick Gulley story. I put the guy on the hook by sending the video of the Marquette Neal situation. And I sent a great big long email and I said, listen, here's this story, and it looks wild and crazy, but there is a whole lot of things going on here. And it's just continued to go and go and go and go and go. And it's culminated with what's happened here most recently, the Nicholas Gulley situation. And so then I sent him that information, and it took him about 13 hours between the time I sent my email to the time that he reached back out to me. So if this goes the way that I think it's going to go, we have a really good chance of getting this story out there in a really, really, really big way. So that makes me happy. And I want to be very clear. It doesn't make me happy because I care. It is not the Long Island Auditor. No, it is not. Listen, though, that's what I'm telling you. So there's people that I watch and people that I look up to and people that I think are like big time. And then I know the Long Island Auditor. But let me tell you, I am not against anybody pushing this out there. Go and copy the YouTube link. And if you guys have people that you watch and you want to send it to the Long Island Auditor and say, hey, get in contact with this guy at the Political Spotlight, take a look at this. I don't know that Amanda or anyone on her family feels like doing interviews. I mean, certainly they wouldn't probably feel like that now. They might later, but I will be willing to help them and talk to the people and get them in contact or be the go-between so they're not inundated with nonsense right now at this time, because they need to be spending time with their family members and grieving and doing that. I don't have a problem going on and I don't want to say talking for them, because this is not about me whatsoever. And I have a really hard time talking about this in a way that makes it seem like I'm not trying to make it about me, and it is not about me at all. I just want to do whatever I can to help the family in the most the biggest way possible. So I just want to let you guys know that we are making traction with this. But here's what's going to happen, and it's not because anybody's bad. It's not because anyone's careless. It's just because it's nature. When there's a tragedy in somebody's life, that is big in their life, and everybody around them says, oh my God, that is so horrible. Thoughts and prayers. I'll be praying for you. I had a grandma that said this once, said this actually to my other grandmother. One grandmother said it to another grandmother. And she said, I've always heard people, walk up to people at a funeral and be like, oh, I hate, this for you. I hate your loss. I hate this loss for you. And I'll be praying for you. And it's just words that people say. And then they walk out and they go and eat or they go do whatever. And it's just, they're back to life. But the people that are grieving aren't. They are living with it. So it's in they are inundated, but to everybody else, it's just what it is. And so it was a really big thing on Friday. It's been a really big thing over the weekend, but as life does, for everyone really outside of the real close friends and family, life's going to get back to regular life for people. So I'm begging you, please, please, please don't do that with this one. Continue to share the link, continue to post about it, continue to push it forward, to talk about this, to talk about what's going on. I want to be very clear. I talk about people in Muncie. I talk about people in Madison County. I talk about situations in Winchester. We talk about situations at the state level and nationally. And I don't have big playlists assigned to, like, I don't have a playlist assigned to Dan Ridenhour. I don't have a playlist assigned to Madison County. I don't have a playlist assigned to Missy Williams. I don't have a playlist assigned to J.D. Prescott. You know, some of our bigger people. We don't do that. I have a playlist assigned to John Sproles. And I do because John Sproles is different than any of those other elected officials. He carries a badge and he carries a gun, and he has the ability to take your freedom or my freedom or John Doe's freedom, and he has the ability to take your life or my life or John Doe's life. And so it's not just like he's a political figure who's just doing some dumb stuff. And so therefore, like, oh, I'm mad at him or he's not letting us talk. He's actually hurting people in a very real way. And so we've made a playlist of him. And so if anybody's out there, when you're sharing this stuff, please don't just share this link or that link or whatever. We can do a lot more because there's a lot going on here. Go in, grab the playlist, share the playlist, and get people out there, because there is a lot going on in his mind. So let me put a pin in this for just 1 second, so everyone can be brought up to speed with what we're doing tonight. This is not going to be solely a Henry County night. We're going to talk about what's going on here. I'll just let me what we'll probably start doing, because I'm not titling the show names anymore unless we get something really, really big or something that needs a title, I guess. So what I'll do is I'll probably go back to reading the descriptions. So the description for this episode is as follows. It's Sunday, March 1st, 2026. If you're watching this live, it is 9:21 p.m., which means we are kicking off a busy week starting right now. We will be kicking off this 613th episode of the Political Spotlight by outlining where we as a team are with the mess in Henry County. And when I say the mess in Henry County, I mean from the heartbreaking news of Nicholas Gulley II's passing just this past Friday, to the insurance issue at hand, to discussing the current 2026 election season, including the race to determine the next sheriff of Henry County. So we're going to talk about that right here at the beginning. Then next, we're going to move on to talking about the upcoming Muncie City Council meeting, which is scheduled for, if you're watching this live, tomorrow, Monday, March 2nd, 2026 at 7 p.m. There is no public hearing, so the meeting will start right at 7 p.m. It will likely be another long and possibly interesting meeting. Interesting, possibly long, I guess I should say. And it's definitely going to be one to watch. If you can show up to the meeting, be there. It's at 300 North High Street in Muncie. Everybody's welcome. You can speak, you can stand, you can be there with us. The meeting's there. If you cannot be there in person, you can watch it live right here on my YouTube page, The Political Spotlight, live on location. We will be there. We will be live streaming it. You will be able to see it. And so that'll be that. You can watch it live or you can watch it via replay. So whichever one works for you. We will then also be covering a few other updates that are happening in and around Muncie. There's a lot of things going on with Muncie right now. I feel like I should be talking about the deal with Iran, but there's just so much happening local. I'll be honest, I have a hard time tearing away from this local stuff because there's so many things going on that people are being impacted by locally. And I just feel like it's in a lot of ways so much more important. So we're talking about that. And then lastly, we're going to examine a possible shakeup within the Delaware County Republican Party. So we'll be talking about all of that. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And while we're here and just not really doing much before you get really into it, if you could smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, thank you. If you're here via X, Twitter, thank you. If you're here on Facebook, we love you. However you're here watching, we love it. I just want to let you know that if you want the most experience of the program, the best way to watch, the best way to view is on YouTube as of now. I might try to copy off Rob Kendall. Rob Kendall's got a new podcast coming out starting tomorrow, actually. If you guys haven't done that, go check out his new show. It's the Rob Kendall Show, 10 to noon on YouTube. But he also has just a website. Maybe we might talk about doing a website at some point, just putting everything there. But until we do that, right now, the best place to watch us is on YouTube. And I say that for one reason that's beneficial to you and one reason that's selfish. And in my opinion, the first reason and the most important reason is it benefits you because you can see everything. Plus, you can see all of our other content very much more easier. And you can see all of the comments. There's a lot of people commenting. You guys do a lot of great job in commenting. We love it. People comment from YouTube and Facebook and everywhere, but they comment from YouTube the most. So if you're here and you're watching it, we put up a lot of comments on the screen, but we don't put all of them up. So if you want to get the most out of your viewing experience, it's YouTube. And so that's for you. Now, the selfish reason is we do get monetization off of a lot of different platforms we're on. We get the biggest monetization right at this moment off of YouTube. Well, besides the audio podcast, we get probably the biggest off the audio podcast. We'll talk about that in a minute. But YouTube. So that's a way that helps us continue doing this and keeping this going. While we're talking about that, if you're here and you're able to like and do all of that stuff, that's great. If you subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. It's just a way that you can help us out without doing anything other than clicking a button. You just have to do it once. That would be great if you could do that. There's the YouTube link down there. Kate and I have done absolutely everything that we can do as far as removing video ads during the live shows. I'm not talking about if you were recording live or broadcasting live, episode 613. If you watch episode 613 on Wednesday, you're going to be watching it 2 or 3 days late, and you're going to get ads. You're going to get anywhere from 3 to 4 ads, depending on how long the show is. They're very short period, and it's not bad. But I'm just talking about live right now for the people that are here live. And not all of you get ads. There's just some of you, and we don't know why. Every single thing that turns ads on, the lives are turned off. I guess at the end of the day, YouTube's going to say, we want some money. And so they're doing what they're doing. So there's nothing that we can do about that. I apologize. We want to give you the best content possible. Just know, I guess, if it's any consolation, that if there are a few ads here or there in a live video, the one thing I can say is it does put a couple pennies in our pocket. So that's one thing I can say. I guess it's kind of like paying for the the content that you enjoy. So that's the one thing. You're not actually paying for it. That's what's happening. So we've tried it. We've tried, and we will continue trying. But if you're getting an ad or two during the live video, there's really nothing else that we can do other than continuing to talk to YouTube to see if they can stop that, because they didn't used to do that. So that's out of our hands. We're not doing it. Okay. So moving on. I mean, we're a couple of days out from the Friday show. We're a couple of days out from the terrible news. I mean, it's still real time for the family, but until here just in the last couple of month or two, I didn't know these people. But let me tell you, this is something that's stuck with me all weekend. It's stuck with me all weekend. And I've not been able to escape the situation with what's happened to Nick. And I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that it's something that has laid heavy on my mind and my heart, my soul, all weekend. And I've been doing what I can to talk with people and to try to get the word out. Give me 1 second here. It's something that I don't want to I don't want it to go away. And so we're going to fight to do everything that we can to keep it going. The chair of the Henry County Republican Party, with the information I have, looks like it's John Madison. John Madison's the chair. Lisa Lovelace is the vice chair. Jay Davis is the secretary. Brian Clark is the treasurer. And that's what it looks like for Henry County. Delaware County is Tim Overton. That's the chair. Blackford County's been Randolph County's Ben Wells. Madison County is Kelly Hewer. And I'll have to look at other stuff to go more than that. But getting back to Nick, I do have that's exactly right, Stumblefoot. I mean, this is something that we've been fighting here for a long time. And I've been getting a lot of people messaging me. I've been getting a lot of people messaging me and asking me, how can we recall him? What do we have to do to impeach him? What can we do? And those are great questions. I'm not belittling anybody. Because everybody has to start somewhere, and people just don't know that. You hear about these things going on in other areas, and why wouldn't you think that can happen here? Well, the state of Indiana is they call it a very mayoral heavy state, and that doesn't necessarily specifically have anything to do with the mayor. Just what it means is Indiana is very heavy handed towards elected officials. They lean to the elected official more than they lean to the citizen. And so basically what happens is when we elect someone at the polls, we nominate them at the primary in May. So you could have one person running as a Republican for, say, commissioner, and he has no challenger, and he's going to win. He's going to be the nominee. If you have two people running for commissioner as Republican, you go in and you pick a Republican ballot and you vote for the person that you think is most qualified to move forward. And if that person wins, they become the nominee and they move on to the general election in November. And then whoever wins the general election, the Republican or the Democrat, they are the elected official. And basically in the state of Indiana, citizens don't have recall or impeachment power. It's very, very difficult to remove a person from elected office. Essentially, the only thing that removes an elected official from office in the state of Indiana, and it's from the very lowest form of government at the smallest little town where they might have three town board members, all the way up to mayor of Indianapolis or governor of the state of Indiana. Okay? Essentially, what has to happen is the way that person can be removed is if, God forbid, they die in office. Obviously, if they die in office, they're no longer going to be the office holder. Okay? If they move out of the district, so if you're a city councilor that lives in a district, if you're the mayor that lives in Newcastle or Muncie, if you're the commissioner that lives in his district or her district, if you're the Henry County commissioner and you move to Marion County, you can no longer be the commissioner. You have to live in the area that you represent. So if you move out of the area for whatever reason, your partner wants you to, you get a divorce, something happens, you move to take care of family, you don't get to hold that job. So that's the second way. The third way is, and this is what people always get confused about, it's not just enough to be arrested for a felony. You have to be arrested, you have to be charged, and then you have to be convicted or you have to plead guilty to a felony. So if an elected official is convicted of a felony, they have to be removed. And the thing is, that's pretty much it. Now, there are situations where council members or maybe commissioners could take action to remove fellow council members or commissioners through a legal process going to court. I have to read up on this and find out exactly. I believe, I'm going to tell you, I'm about 80% positive that, for example, the commissioners of a county could get together and say, we are having a serious issue going on here. So-and-so elected official is unfit to serve because of X, Y, and Z. They get arrested, but they're not charged or they're not convicted, but they're found to have lots of drugs on them, or say like child pornography, or say somebody murders someone. Okay. Or let's say there's some kind of serious mental breakdown where someone's, you've got the mayor going out and he's drunk and naked on the city square and he's shooting, something crazy like that. Then you have higher officials within the community might be able to go and petition the court, and through legal action, there's remedy that they could have to have someone removed from office. I'm going to tell you, it's probably a very long and drawn out process. And so, for example, like if the Henry County commissioners woke up tomorrow and said, hey, we're going to call an executive meeting, we want to talk to our attorney, we're going to call a public meeting, this is what we're doing, and they would tell their county attorney to draw up paperwork and go to court to try to get this done, chances are the May primary would be here and over by the time that ever played out. Because court proceedings, as we know, can drag on and on and on and on. So that's something there. Now, listen, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know how bad the elected officials in Henry County have to let this get before they look into doing something like that. Now, I don't know how much that would cost Henry County. Maybe it would cost a lot. Maybe it wouldn't. They already paid the attorney, so it shouldn't be too crazy, I would think. But it might be worth doing something. I mean, I would say that I would be at the point, if I were an elected official, and let's not even talk about Henry County. If I were the elected commissioner or elected council member in Delaware County, and one of our elected officials was costing the county as much as it is currently being done in Henry County, if that was happening here in Delaware County, I would be wondering, like, yo, is there not something that we can do? We need to maybe take a look at what we have and what's in our tool bag, what we possibly have. Okay. Someone said, well, can't we do all of that? Can't the commissioners do that? Well, first of all, here's the problem with that. I'll be really honest. You have 3 commissioners. And so for the commissioners to do anything, you have to have 2 of them with an affirmative vote. And right now, we are in a situation where 2 of the commissioners absolutely love Sproles. They're in his pocket. They think he's doing a fantastic job. They don't understand what all this hoopla is about. You know, they're saying things like, well, Gulley was a criminal. You know, if you don't want bad things to happen, don't do bad things. I'm not saying that. That's not my words. I'm just speaking for these idiots. All right. So that's the first and foremost. I think that we have a commissioner in Henry County that would do that in a heartbeat if there was something to do. Okay. But the problem is Susan Hoon and Joel Wiley are both idiots. That's just the truth. And the good thing is, Wiley's not running. All right. And so I'm going to tell you, without having talked to any of the candidates for commissioner, there's a young man that's running. And I'm hearing that basically he looks up to Sproles, and that his father-in-law is the person that's bankrolling all of this. And his father-in-law is going to be kind of pulling the strings. And then there's another candidate, and it's the other candidate that we want. And for the life of me, I can't think of that name right now. It's been a long last. Oh my God! Hold on. No. Sorry, I've with moving some things here in the studio out to the other studio. There's some chaos going on in here, and I apologize. Sorry for that. But the other commissioner candidate. No, not Nicholson. Duggar. I couldn't think of Duggar. He's the commissioner candidate, in my opinion, that we're going to want to support in Henry County. So I really think that if we had, is his name Steve? Is it Steve Duggar? Is it Steve Duggar and Steve Dellinger? That's what we need. We need the SD squared. That's what they'll be. That's what we had. I feel like if we had Steve Duggar and Steve Dellinger right now, I feel like we would be in a better spot. But because Dellinger is currently the odd man out, there's not a whole hell of a lot he can do right now. So that's that. I do have a request in for video on from the jail concerning the date of the 11th. And here's the thing. I'm talking to people and I'm hearing from people who are still convinced that something happened to Nick on the 11th. That something happened on the 11th. Because when this story first came to me, and this story first came to me 2 days after it happened, a man that, to my knowledge, I don't think is a family member, and I don't want to out this person because I don't out people. I don't know that I have the okay to out him, so I can't out him. But he knows who he is, and I will tell him if he doesn't know. But this man was the very first person to message me like 2 days after this happened. And he said, hey, something's going on at the jail you need to look into. And then like later that day, or maybe the next day, Nick's aunt reached out to me. So I've known about this since the very start. And literally everybody that I've talked to has told me that his use of force incident, the hands-on event, happened on the 11th. Now, I don't know. I don't know. The very first thing they put out was this thing from the 9th, and they're saying that's the only time anybody went hands-on with him. But the same person that's saying that is the same person that said this was gentle, that we didn't do anything to him. We didn't put our hands on him. He was never hit. He was never on the ground laying in a padded cell needing help. We never did anything to him. So I can't trust that nothing happened any other time than when we're seeing. First of all, because there's a lot of people saying it. If it was just one person saying it, or if it was just his mom or the girlfriend saying it, that would be one thing. But there are people that were in jail that have nothing to do with Nick, have nothing to do with his mom, have nothing to do with anyone. Well, so Sam, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Let me tell you what my thought is there. Okay? Cuz I have this battle with my grandpa all the time. Cuz my grandpa says, well, they're not going to give you those records. They're not going to give you those records. And I say, sure they are. They do it all the time. And I understand why he says that, because any normal, sane person would say if I'm gonna be wearing a body cam and I'm gonna beat the shit out of somebody who's undeserving of me beating the shit out of them, then I'm gonna make that body cam go bye-bye. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna flush it down the toilet. Anything. But historically, I have to say, they don't do it. And I'm not just talking about Sproles, and I'm not just talking about Henry County, and I'm talking about Dan Ridenhour. I'm talking about city. I'm talking about towns. I'm talking about counties. I'm talking about states. I'm talking about every form of government. I don't know if it's just like, hey, people's not going to ask for this, or it's, hey, we don't care what we do. We approve of what we do. It's probably a little mixture of everything. Because here's the thing. So if they delete, listen, putting myself in the bad guy's mind frame, okay? If I'm the corrupt, dirty, bad sheriff, and I've raised up a culture of chaos underneath me for the sheriff's department, and me and my guys are going out there and just we are living it up like it's the OK Corral, and we're just shooting and fighting and stealing and cussing and carrying on and doing whatever we want to do. Well, if there's any record of that, you know what I would do? I would delete that crap. I wouldn't give it to nobody. Okay, you're filing a record complaint on me? Okay. You know? Because when you hand the material out, then it's like you're got. You got. Here's the thing, though. If you do delete the material and it's not there, then it's always like a case of, first of all, we'd be screaming from the rooftops, right? They deleted, there's 24 hours deleted from their video. The whole 24 hours is deleted. Listen, there is 2 seconds of video. I think it's 2 seconds. Maybe it's 5 seconds of deleted, like a skip in the Jeffrey Epstein video while he's in jail, like the night that he checked out. And they're like, well, it's because our jail did it does a reboot, and there's 5 seconds every night which is just totally insane. That's insane, right? Here's what the thing is. With those 5 missing seconds, people's like, well, somebody slipped in and killed him. They were a trained assassin, and that's what happened. So without the video, it's like that. It's kind of like when you don't know, when you hear a noise at nighttime and you don't know what it is, it's a monster. It's a monster. And when you can't see it and you don't know how big it is and you don't know what it is, it's the scariest thing, and your mind could run all over the world. It's the devil, it's Dracula, it's the devil and Dracula together, and Frankenstein's carrying them. It's whatever you could come up with. Your imagination is the limit, and we as humans have the ability of making things just as scary as possible. It's that unknown, But when you get to see it, oh, what? That was just a kitty cat out there banging around on the garage, banging around on the trash cans. Well, that's not scary. Well, when you see what it is, then it's no longer scary, or it's no longer bad. So when they see it, good, bad, or right, wrong, indifferent, whatever, when we see it, then we know. And even if it's bad, they're like, well, look, it's bad. It's exactly that bad. But it's not worse. It's not worse. Yeah, because you can't prove a negative, right? So if there's nothing there, then that enables me. This is something that happens because while most people do give me records when I request, a lot of people drag their feet. So when I've asked like, for example, when I've issued record requests for Ridenauer for the City of Muncie, and I've asked him questions, and he doesn't respond to me, and he doesn't give me my records, then he lets me just go on and talk about it. So first of all, he makes it something that I talk about over and over and over, and I put it in the minds of the constituents over and over and over and over. But second of all, he leaves me to guess what it is. What are they hiding? And now I get to write the narrative. But when he just quickly gives me the records, well, now I don't get to write the narrative. Now the records are what they are. Good, bad, or indifferent, they are what they are right here. And that's the thing. So, for example, let's say nothing ever happened to Nick past the 9th. That the beating that he sustained is what he sustained on the 9th. Well, folks, when we watch that beating from up above, I'm going to be honest. It looks bad, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as what we've made it out to be. But I'll tell you what looks horrible, and it is the body camera of the female CO Moore, who runs into the jail cell, and her body camera captures literally everything that happens to him. Her body camera catches Sergeant Wyan with his knee in his back and on his back, pushing his chest into the ground, pulling his head back, pulling his arms back, slamming his head and neck into the wall with his forearm, throwing him to the ground not once, but twice. Okay? And let me tell you something, as far as them saying, oh, he didn't have broken ribs, first and foremost, nothing happened that could have broke his ribs, nothing happened. My grandfather leaned over a car and broke a rib one time. No one punched him, no one kicked him, nothing. He just leaned over. And people might be like, well, yeah, it's your grandpa, maybe he's older. Let me tell you this. When my mother was 50, 50's not old. She wasn't sick. She's not sick. She doesn't have osteoarthritis or whatever. When my mother was 50 years old, she was listening to Salt and Pepper on the radio in the car. Salt and Pepper, you know Salt and Pepper, okay? The R&B singers, the group from back in the 90s. She was dancing in the car at a stoplight and broke 2 ribs while dancing in the car. So if you're telling me that a young man who had some issue with health, who'd been a cancer survivor, who hasn't always lived the most healthiest lifestyle, was getting pummeled by 3, 4, 5 different guys, 2 of them who were large men, one of them who's like 300, 380 pounds. If you're telling me that his ribs couldn't have been broken by them laying in their knee and down on his back and pulling up on him, I tell you, horse shit. Yeah, that goofy girl running in there was excellent. Excellent. So, first and foremost that, but I want to say something that Brandon said today. Brandon was fired up today. I want to say something that Brandon said. Brandon said, and please bear with me, family members. I love that you guys watch. I want you to watch. I don't want to continue talking about things that are hard for you to hear, but as you said, we have to get this out there. This has to be talked about. So I appreciate you guys watching. I always want you to watch. I want you to be as involved as you can be, but I will never be offended if you have to turn off, if you have to leave. I completely get it. I completely understand. I just never want to say anything to hurt you, but I'm going to say something here that's just, I just want you to know. just a possible trigger warning. Sproles keeps being a jackass saying, oh, he didn't have broken ribs. We didn't find broken ribs. We never saw him broken. Listen, nobody's saying that he died of broken ribs. He didn't die from broken ribs. He died from the infection. He died from neglect. We don't have to do this thing where we're saying, okay, it has to be 100% police brutality. If it's not 100% police brutality, then he's in the clear. Or that wasn't as bad as him getting shot, or that wasn't as bad as them kicking him in the face. They didn't kick him in the face, you know. They didn't run over him with a car. 15 people didn't beat on him. You know, at what point is it bad? But okay, let's give it to him. You didn't abuse him. That was simple. It was easy. It was gentle. It was feather baby kisses, and everything was wonderful and by the book. The problem isn't the brutality. The problem is the neglect. He passed away from infection and injuries caused by neglect. I'll be honest. If you ask me what the worst video was out of all of the videos that we looked at, I'll tell you it wasn't the video of the beating. It was the video where it was the 30-second video where they're dragging him down the hall, where he's moaning and motionless and being dragged down the hall. So we are still fully on this. We are still fully invested in this. We're not going anywhere. I don't know what the situation is with the video with the 11th. I've asked for it, and they keep acting like idiots, but they are going to give it to me, or they're going to prepare it, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to watch it play out over the course of 24 hours. There's a lot I can fast forward through. He didn't just show up at the hospital with a blood infection, shingles, and the rest that appeared in the ambulance on the way. There were signs of those things were ignored. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Kate and Brandon have really been going at it. They've come up with some great stuff, and it's absolutely true. So we're going to keep on it. I am going to watch all 24 hours at some point of the 11th. So really from 11:59 on Saturday the 10th, and then it goes tick over to midnight on Sunday the 11th, and I'm going to watch from there all the time until it ticks 12 o'clock on Monday the 12th. I'm going to watch that. Number 2, I'm requesting. So I want to tell you guys what the situation is with this. I've asked them to provide me video of him going to visitation. Visitation is done differently at various different places, in jails and prisons, whatever. I did not know in their jail that the inmates don't go to physical visitation. Okay. Absolutely, Nicole. That's exactly correct. Okay, I didn't know that they do the visitation from the pods they're in. I did not know that. So I made the mistake of saying, I want the video of Gulley going into visitation. Well, they were able to say to me, there is no video of him going into visitation. We don't do that. That video doesn't exist. So I got on the horn and I called him and I'm like, okay, what do you mean? All right, maybe you don't video them when they're talking to their loved ones. Let me see the video of them out in the hallway going to it. Because if he's walking up there all cocky, then it pokes holes in some of the family and the inmates' stories. But if he's being carried up there by the COs, that lends itself to what everybody's saying. There is no video of the hallway. And I'm like, what do you mean? There has to be. There's not blind spots in there. There's not just whole hallways that don't have video of it. Just in the video that you guys saw, every inch of the place is covered. They cover it long ways this way. They cover it long ways this way. Absolutely. Absolutely, Jimmy. Well, then they messed up and they said, no, you're not understanding. It's just in the day pod. It's just when they're in the pod. It's just when they're in the pod. They just go walk up and there's a phone and a video there and they do it from right there. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Then give me the video of the whole entire pod because I know they have it. I know they have that. And the reason I know they have it is, well, first of all, I'm not stupid. So clearly they have what goes on in the pod. Like, that would be a major issue if they didn't have that. So yeah, clearly they have what goes on in the pod. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, like, I didn't know that. Let's say I was an idiot. Okay. They have given me other video of another situation where we see the entire situation of the pod. I've seen it. I've watched that before. Okay. And I know for a fact because I've put this video out there. So, well, no, so that's the interesting thing, Alva, and that's what's going to be here. His family has said at some point between being in medical the first time on the 9th and then being in medical on the 17th, where they then take him out and carry him down to the pad, that at some point for a period of time, he was in D block. Okay. And so we haven't seen the video of what was going on in D block. That's the reason I want to see this. That's the reason I'm going to see this. Because we know that if he was, in fact, in D block, then they will have video that is similar to this. Okay. Here is a picture of an inmate. You all know this man. This is Marquette Neal. And he's outside of his cell here. The TV on the wall, this TV on the wall outside of the cage, that area is the day room. That area is where he's at, okay? And so we're gonna come down here with Marquette Neal, all right? And we're gonna look at him. Look at this.
He's ripping up the
right here. Look at this. What are we looking at? We're looking at this day room where he's back on the block with all these other inmates. Marquette Neal here, he's being a little idiot at this moment. He's trying to bang on the TV and cause problems. Okay, it is what it is. Still didn't deserve what he got. Okay, but, you know, he was causing some chaos here. But look at these. You see these things? These, ladies and gentlemen, are the phones. And look at this. You see this on the wall? You see these two gray things? Those gray things are the videos, the video phone chats that people, the inmates walk up to or roll up to or sit on something and are able to do visitations with their family. So I want video of him inside the inside the pod, and they will give it to me. I know when it is, and I'll fight them for it. It'll be what it'll be. So we will get this because I know they have it. So those are 2 other days, 2 other videos. As soon as we have them, I will bring it to you. I'm going to do my very, very level best to get it this week and keep you guys posted if or when I do that. Now, really quickly, moving on to the insurance aspect of this, I just want to bring up for a second that if you recall back to the video, okay, of the first meeting that Joshua Estel was having with the 2 commissioners, Dellinger and Susan Hoon, on the morning of the 26th before they had their regular meeting that night. One of the things that he said is, you guys need to reach out to everybody, to the sheriff's department, to all of your department heads, and ask them, is there anything else that's coming? Because this other insurance company that we're getting ready to take on, they don't want any other surprises. Well, a surprise, I know that the insurance company had to have known about the whole deal with Nick. I don't know if they knew how bad off he was. I don't know if Sproles was downplaying it. I don't know where they actually stood with that. But now that they know that he's passed away, and that I would assume, I have not talked to Mark Nicholson. We are going to get him on the show. We were supposed to do it last weekend, but we couldn't make it work. We are going to have him on the show coming up to talk about several different things. But one of those things I would like to talk about, if he's where he can, would be this situation, because I'm assuming I'm looking here. I'm assuming. Oh, there Mark is right there. Hey, Mark. Yeah, we had the problem last weekend. We played a phone tag, but call me tomorrow, or I'll call you, and we will get it scheduled up. When we'll do it, and I'll do it whenever you want this time. No changes, no takebacks. We will get you. We'll get you plugged on. Hello there, sir. I don't know this because I'm not an attorney, but I would have to believe that the lawsuit that was changed, that was filed, the tort notice that was filed, and the lawsuit that will be coming, I will have to believe that now changes. I will have to believe that with his passing last Friday, this becomes a whole bigger ball game. Now, a lot of people have said, well, won't the state police investigate? Won't the FBI investigate? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if there was an actual investigation here? You would think. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you, I have heard on from sources. I've heard from sources in Indianapolis that an autopsy will be performed. Maybe it already has been. I don't know, but I know that it either will be or has been, and I think that will not fare well for the COs. And so an investigation could very well come from that. But an investigation is needed. And so if or when these things happen, I just want to say that I think that the insurance problem that they were facing in January of 2024, that they were able to smooth over, and it was bad, but they were able to get something going. And then the insurance issue that we just found out about here recently, the second one, I think it's probably going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. You should start a GoFundMe so that people can help pay for as much footage. Well, let me tell you something. There people, I don't like saying this because I in my opinion, I want people to be donating. That's the other thing. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it once, and I'm not going to harp on it. A GoFundMe was started for Nicholas Gulley. Yes, it was started by Randy Howard. I have seen where Nick's mom is aware of it and apparently has been talking to Randy about that. I've got no problem with that. I hope Randy's intentions are good. I will give him the benefit of the doubt and say that they are in this situation, because that would be a really, really, really bad, dumb thing to do. So as long as every single penny of that is made gets back to Nick's family, his mother, or whoever's responsible for that, that's a good thing. I have no problem with it. Okay, I have no problem with that. I saw it. I definitely have some questions, and I'll be honest, I don't think Randy's the person who should be doing that. Anybody could have stepped up and done it. I'll be honest, I wasn't going to do something like that. I find it odd to start a GoFundMe for somebody that you're not related to or not connected to. I think everybody can see it for what it is when it's like, oh, it's the sheriff's, it's a candidate for sheriff. Weird deal. Whatever. If he's being true and altruistic with it, then rock and roll, no bigger deal. And I'm not going to say it right there. Amanda says I have control over it all. So that's all that matters to me. That is all that matters. And I'm not going to knock him because it's a good thing. And I have not donated to that because I knew Randy had done it. Now that I see that Amanda has done this, I'm going to donate. Now, I want people's money to go to that. If everybody's having a hard time, I understand it. So if people can donate to that, I think that's a good thing. We don't ask for money here. We do our own thing. We get paid for doing this. This is a job. So we put it all back into the show and do what we can to make this better. There are people that do donate, and I don't even know how you do it. Honest to God, I couldn't walk you how to do it. I couldn't tell you how to do it. There's apparently something that you can do where you can go on YouTube and somehow donate, and it pops up in the comments. Like, for example, Stumblefoot just did it the other day. He donated $20. When people donate money like that, that money goes into the pot to help do things for the records request. And people do it every so often, and that always it seems like it just always helps when we need it. People do it. It's like a miracle from God, I would say. It just so happens that it works out. So I don't push it. It is what it is. We will continue getting the records. Someone said, didn't you say that you couldn't get the Bell stuff because of pending charges? I didn't. I did say that, but I didn't say it. Stacy Guffey said it. Stacy Guffey told me that because Bell had pending criminal charges as a result of this, that they would let me look at it, and they did let me look at it, but they would not let me have it until after the criminal charges were over. And they said as soon as the dollar, I was reading Stumblefoot saying dollar. As soon as the charges are done, they said they would provide it to me. So that's that. Now, his attorney will be able to get it, and they'll have it through that. So I wanted to put it out and get it out, but they don't want people to see it because it just there's things on there that I think hurts it. I think that hurt their situation. When the one guy gets up and you know they're driving like idiots to get there because they don't know what it is. They think it's serious and that's dangerous. And just there's a lot of stuff that the one deputy gets up there and continuously says, I still don't know what's going on. And they act like flustered that they're having to deal with this. It's just really strange. So that's that. And so that's the Henry County stuff. I wanted to talk about that. It's probably gonna be something that we talk about for a little bit here for the foreseeable future, because it's a really heavy thing and it's not just going to go away. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and just be like, okay, well, I'm done talking about Nick. It's probably not going to go away for a while. And Amanda, while you are here, I don't know when, if, how, what you guys are doing as far as some kind of a memorial, something. Please let me know when you guys get something set up, because I would like to come and pay my respects. I would like to come and I've never met any of these people, so I'd like to meet you in person and pay my respects and do all of that. So I just wanted to make sure to put that information out there. Oh yes, Christian, absolutely. Yeah, we will definitely have it. I'm not worried about that one bit. They will definitely provide that for us. It's just sometimes you got to go through a pissing match for it. So yeah, and I just saw this. I just saw this comment because from time to time I get people who message me during the show, and sometimes if we're watching video or something's happening, I might quickly look at messages, but generally while I'm live, I'm not looking at Facebook Messenger. I'm not looking at my emails. I'm not looking at my phone. And so I don't get that. What generally happens is if somebody sends me something that they want me to see quickly, the best way to do it is to message Kate. And you can message us at the Political Spotlight, or you can message her privately, however you want to message her. And then if there's something that you're sending me, then she'll tell me, hey, she'll shoot me a message through our little chat system here and say, hey, you need to look at this or whatever. So, okay, Amanda, I figured that. So my prayers, my thoughts definitely go out to all of you. And so I know that's tough, but yeah, if there's ever anybody that has anything, that you like just want to get to us for us to look anytime, you can send it to me and then I'll look after the show. Or if you want to send it to Kate, you can send it to Kate or the Political Spotlight, whatever. But if it's something that you're like, hey, I really need Chris to look at this during the show, shoot it to Kate, because I generally don't look at my messages then. So, okay. Moving on to the city of Muncie. I can't make any promises on that, Stumblefoot. I will do dumb stuff with your donations, like give $1.08 to Sproles to get something a little good to eat. You know, he apparently needs it. Real quick before we move on, we have good people here. Before I got to move on to Muncie, but this just brought me back to it really quick when he said donuts. We have really good people here on the team, like Kate and Brandon. They're really good people. Kate, really good people. Kate's a little twisted. Brandon is a really, really good person. He's the best person. In our order of people, I would say, hey, that's all right, Castle Lord. Thanks for being here. I would say Brandon is the best person. Kate is the worst person, and I'm in the middle. I am just right. Brandon's too cold, Kate's too hot, and I'm just right. No. Kate and Brandon are both better than I am by far. But Brandon's better than Kate, and I don't mean at the job. Kate's really good. The best yes, that's what we're getting ready to talk about. Not so fast. So Brandon's the best, then Kate, then me. Okay, well, Brandon and Kate, they don't talk about in political satire. I try not to talk about personal, but listen, I'm not above talking about somebody's looks. I'm a child, okay? And the reason I can do it is because it's kind of like, look, I'm a fat person, so I get to talk about you if you're fat. Where it's part of the club. You know, I got the fat card. I can talk about, I'm fat, you're fat. You can talk about me being fat. Doesn't bother me. No skin off my nose. Guess what? I can start walking and lose weight. You know what I mean? It's not that big a deal. But something really odd happened. Well, I appreciate that, Amanda. Deep down, we really are. But something odd happened when I was looking at some footage. Sproul's most recent video is funky. Okay, something is going on. So y'all know what John Sproul's looks like, right? Okay, I'm going to show you here. On the left, John Sproul's when he first started. On the right, he's like in his fat Elvis period. You know, he's a hunk of blubber and love or something, This is like really concerning here. I honestly don't like this. I saw this and I was like, oh God, what? Who ate Sproul's? They're like, think about the most pure thing you can think about. And then the Ghostbusters all look at me and they're like, you didn't, did you? And I was like, yeah, I thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Look, the only thing I can think of is this is what happens. This is what happens when you eat your grief. Like they say, you better eat the grief before the grief eats you. And if anybody wants to know about whatever grief he might be dealing with, you're going to have to do your own research there, because we won't talk about his grief situation. Because it's definitely way outside of what we talk about here. Okay, on with Muncie. So tomorrow is the Muncie City Council meeting. Hey, people are going to kill me. I have to do this. I don't know if Brenda's still here. Brenda Greider, are you still here? It came to my attention last week, and I am so sorry I did not know this. But it came to my attention last week that sadly you lost your sister. And I want to just tell you how sorry I am to hear that. And my thoughts and my prayers are with you and your family. And I didn't know your sister. I might have maybe I ran into you and your sister one time in Newcastle long ago. I don't know if that was her or not. I don't know. But I do know you and care about you. You're a great person. You're a good person. And so my thoughts and my prayers are with you and your family while you deal with that loss. So just wanted to say that. Okay, so Muncie City Council meeting, it's tomorrow. We talked a couple weeks ago about the agenda for tomorrow's meeting, and it's it's one of those things. It was weird when we first talked about it. Okay. Like, I don't really know what else to say about all of this. It was weird when we first talked about it. It's still weird. Muncie City Council, 7 p.m. Roll call. Approval of minutes. Appointments. Beech Grove Cemetery. Apparently they have 4 people they want to appoint. Committee report. Opioid Fund Advisory Committee. That's going to be fun to hear from. And then new ordinances. I guess somewhere before new ordinances, we're going to have public concerns. Okay. We're going to have to stick it to them. I hope the public is there, and I hope they're ready to speak, because in my opinion, it's just got to be a continuation of last meeting. All of the citizens standing up saying, we want you to make a decision about these rules. We need you to make a decision. We need you guys to vote on this transparency ordinance. So we got nothing last meeting. They didn't listen to anything that we said. So we have to stand up and do it all again, ladies and gentlemen. And that's just the way it's got to be. And I hope this time, instead of an hour, I hope we do it for 3 hours. I don't want to be there that long, because it means I got to plug my laptop into the wall. But I'll do it. I don't want to do it tomorrow. But we have to. And that's what I'm telling you. It's not that hard. You just got to bite the bullet and do it. And we're going to do it. I'm going to be there because I got a lot of things I want to talk to him about. Okay? Some of those things are this. Ordinance number 6-26. An ordinance of the City of Muncie amending section 32.939 of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances, prerequisites to action on ordinance/resolution. Ordinance 7-26, an ordinance of the City of Muncie amending Chapter 93 of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances. Resolutions 3-26, a proposal by the students of the AP Government class at the Muncie Central High School for special resolution to install pedestrian scramble light at the intersection of Myrtle Avenue and Walnut Street, for the installation of crosswalks at the intersection of Maple Street and Walnut Street with yield to pedestrian signs, for the installation of sidewalks at the west side of Walnut Street in front of the Muncie Central High, and for the removal of street parking in favor of a left turn lane into central parking lot at the intersection of Maple Street and Walnut Street. And then Resolution 4-26, Common Council of the City of Muncie, Indiana, resolution approving an interlocal agreement for the housing and operation of a municipal drone base. Okay, so that's all. That's it. And I'm going to be talking about Resolution 4-26 tomorrow. And I'm going to be talking about Ordinance 6-26 tomorrow. And then I'm also going to be talking about the rules tomorrow, and we're going to be there. Now, interestingly enough, I have been looking into information pertaining to these things, and I have basically heard nothing back. Nothing from Dale Basham, nothing from Dan Ridenauer, nothing from the City of Muncie. They are just saying, we are not open for business as far as when it comes to anything that the administration is doing, anything that the council Republicans are doing. We're just not going to answer Kristopher Bilbrey. I did send a couple of emails to Jeff Green since the last time we met, and when we talked, he told me that he would do better, that he needed to do better. I sent him a couple of emails, and he did, in fact, respond back to me. You guys, we went over that. He tells me to send him what I want to talk about, and that we might be able to talk further. And I say, no, I just want you to call me. You know, I wanted you to email me so I could give you my number and tell you when it would be a good time to call me. I didn't want to email you to tell me to call you so you could say, no, I'm not going to do that. Just email me. I want to talk directly to him, okay? And we'll talk about that here in just a second. Well, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Well, okay. So first and foremost, what we need to do is we're going to slide over to Muncie City Councilor Nora Powell's social media page, as she discussed a couple of things here in the last day or so. And so 7 hours ago at 2:35, Nora posted the following comment to her social media. Nora said, let me get that off there. Nora said, during the public comment portion of the February City Council meeting, the council was made aware that the chairman of the local Republican Party, Tim Overton, had called a local podcaster to explain the rationale behind President Green's changes to meeting protocol. The most worrisome being his statement that 2 or 3 businesses had chosen not to locate in Muncie, in part because of the behavior at council meetings. In my response, I suggested council meet with the mayor to discuss this revelation. I was asked last week if that meeting ever took place. It did not. In the interest of transparency, I'm sharing my email to the mayor requesting that meeting and his response to me. If you have any questions, please contact Mayor Ridenauer or myself. And Nora's email is as follows. And it was sent on February 13th, 2026. She sent this to Dan and to her fellow counselors. It says, Mayor, I've been meaning to follow up on something discussed at February's City Council meeting. When Mr. Bilbrey addressed council during the public comment portion of our meeting, he reported that the Delaware County Republican Party chair, Tim Overton, had phoned him regarding the new public comment policy. During their conversation, Mr. Overton stated one of the main reasons President Green opted to make these policy changes had been the community had lost 2 or 3 businesses because of bad behavior at council meetings. This was the first I had heard of that information. During the recess, I want to make sure I got the right thing here. During the recess, Mr. Overton spoke with me, Nora, on another issue, but I did get a chance to ask him about his phone call to Mr. Bilbrey. Overton explained that was what he had been told, meaning that he had been told that 2 or 3 businesses left by apparently somebody in the administration. I asked him which companies chose not to relocate to Muncie or chose to leave our community, and he stated he did not know. Nora goes on to say, I am assuming he was told by you or someone within your administration. I will reiterate that I'm frustrated members of the council heard this news in the way that it did from a citizen during our meeting and not from you. I'd like to request a meeting so council is able to ask questions about these businesses that were lost, the meetings that they found offensive, and how council can work with the administration to prevent this from happening again. Listen, love or hate Nora, that is a damn good email. And I absolutely appreciate Nora sending that to the mayor. So the mayor obviously sent her a upstanding email back saying how great she was and that told her everything she needed to know, right? No. The mayor responded almost immediately, and he says, Nora, not Counselor Nora, not giving her any kind of credit or any kind of respect the way that she did, not giving respect to the title even. It's one thing for me to call her she who shall not be named or, the devil or whatever, but this is the mayor. You know what I mean? All right, moving on. Nora, thank you for your email. I don't see the need for a meeting. In my opinion, we have once again experienced a strong growth year in 2025. We have secured 2 new subdivisions that are now under development in the Muncie city limits, a downtown 55-unit apartment building, a 34 homes in the West End, the old West End, 7 townhomes across the street from Muncie Central, 90-plus apartments on the McGuff roof site on the Greenway. The Store Estates subdivision sold out in 5 months when the developer had expected it might take up to 3 years to do so. We had 1,643 total building permits in the city, and we have grown our population since 2020 after large losses in population prior to my taking office. There are many additional items in the works as well, which we will announce when we are permitted to share the info. I will admit that sometimes city council meetings can look interesting. While I cannot speak for others' thoughts about council meetings, I focus on results on this administration. During my non-public employment years prior to being mayor, I knew that some prospects will say yes and move forward. However, in both the private world and with Muncie economic development opportunities, far more prospects choose to go a different direction for their own reasons, and I respect that. But overall, I am pleased with where we are currently when it comes to growth, increased assessed values, and population improvements. The results in 2025 shared above are visible and evident and really do not support the need for an additional meeting. I continue to pledge Muncie residents and the city council to do my utmost to match and improve results in 2026. Best regards, Dan Ridenour, Mayor of Muncie. Now, that is the most ignorant, nonsensical, dumbass non-answer of all time. Great that you're doing all of this stuff. If we are literally changing the way that we run meetings that have been handled the same way and have been handled pretty spectacularly since the 90s, we believe as the council we should know why. I think that this just points back to the fact that what Tim Overton told me was complete horseshit. Now, if Dan doesn't feel like there's an issue with the council meetings, then I don't think Tim Overton should think that there's an issue with the council meetings. And I don't think that Jeff Green should think that there's an issue with the council meetings. And I believe that the meetings should resort back to how they were being ran in November and December of 2025. There is not a reason for this. Yes, Kate says, I appreciate Nora putting this out for transparency. That excuse was a lie to excuse them trying to silence the public. And I want everybody to remember that, because I'm going to bring that up when we talk about the Delaware County GOP here in just 1 second. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to put a pin in this argument, and we're going to come back to this, okay? So I just want to put that forward, that was out there. And it has received several comments. I commented and said, yeah, that's about what I'm hearing, a whole lot of nothing. I do think that means the reasoning for the new rules are nonsense then. Councilor Jeff Green, GOP Chairman Tim Overton, and I tagged them. Seems like the mayor doesn't seem like this was a big deal. Seems like the mayor doesn't think this was as big a deal as what you two did. Thoughts? Of course, they haven't responded. Charlize Jameson responded, all lies, stated to implement their agenda limiting speech they don't like. Somebody, I don't even know who this is, Troy Chester says, Christopher Bilbrey, let's be honest to the people reading my comment. It's not like about limiting one speech is much bigger than that. It's about as big and ugly as that elephant in the room on the third floor. Control, survey, label, all components of the new surveillance state that's quietly being ushered in under silence of the lambs. I love it. If this high school squabble about who is asshole of the assholes is more important, then you've fallen for their deception of your future reality. Just think, Dan can sit in his gaming chair and put you, Nora, Sarah, maybe is that out you? Nor Sarah. He will throw Basham in under the surveillance, digitally stalking you with one of the military drones on his wish list. Want to put Dan on the voters' naughty list and go after him about the separate list he wants to put us all on. Dan's just willing to participate in the creation of the ultimate surveillance system known as Flock. Planetary, they call themselves the ultimate crime-fighting tool, they say, but we all know that that's what its purpose is for. It's not just criminals, said the people that did nothing wrong as they stared down the barrel of the cop's gun. Silently, you all seem to not care, but I got a feeling soon something will make you all care. Now, that's important to read and listen to as we kick into the next post that Nora made. And this is very big. I, too, have been questioning almost incessantly since I very first read this nonsense about the drone base on Delaware County's building that I don't think that we need, that the police department doesn't need, and we don't need these drones. I have been asking people in the police department, people at City Hall, all kinds of questions about what the hell this is. Why do we need it? What's the purpose? How do we make sure that this is not going to be abused? I think it's going to be abused. You know, all kinds of different questions. Well, I want you to hear this. This is very, very, very important. Nora, 8 hours ago, said Resolution 4-26 sponsored by Councilor Basham, seeks to enter into an interlocal agreement with the county for housing and operating a municipal drone base. In addition to my own questions, I've received questions from Muncie residents about the drone operation itself, so I reached out to MPD Chief Nathan Sloan for some answers. Now, I want you to listen to what Nora asks. Nora asked the MPD police chief these questions about this drone base, and I think it's fantastic that she did this. Now, her email on this one says Thursday. I don't know what time this is. I don't know if this Thursday means last Thursday. I think it probably does, but I don't know. Nora says, and this is another great email, Resolution 4-26. And think, she's reaching out and asking the chief of police this, and this, he's going to want her to vote for this, so certainly he's going to answer these questions. She says, "Good morning, Chief. I had a lot of questions at one of my neighborhood associations this week about the interlocal agreement pertaining to drones. The questions weren't really about the agreement per se, but more about the drones themselves, which is the bigger issue. Nora then goes on to ask the questions. What will the drones be used for? What information are you trying to gather by using these drones? Will these drones be armed? What does the Muncie Police Department intend to use armed drones? Does the Muncie Police Department intend to use armed drones from this base within the next 10 to 15 years? How are they different from the drones already used by MPD? How much do you expect this operation of these drones to cost? And where will that money come from? Will they be used in conjunction with the flock cameras? Who within the department will be using the drones? And will their use be documented and those records be available to the public through APRA requests? Are there bigger plans for those drones and information to be gathered in the coming years? Is there a potential for threats to residents' civil liberties? How will their use be regulated? Is the misuse of data such as facial recognition a potential hazard? Please provide answers to these questions before the upcoming council meeting so counselors can provide the information to those who are asking questions and other questions, and so that counselors can make a fully informed decision when voting at our upcoming meeting. Thank you, Nora Powell." So wait a minute. I think I started to ask, but I must not have posted it. I will ask this. After that, I then cycled through her pictures, and what I did not find was an answer from Chief Sloan. Sloan chose, for whatever reason, to not answer her. And I think that's absolutely wild. I think that's absolutely disgusting. I think if he is unable to answer Nora on this question, then the council should be unable to provide him with this project.
So you did post that question.
Okay.
And she responded 2 hours ago. She said, "I emailed Chief Sloan on Thursday at 12:30. I have not received a response as of this evening."
I don't know why I can. Oh, I know, because I was looking in the pictures. Okay, yes. Yeah, I said, can you advise what the date was on the email you sent the chief, as it can't be seen in the screenshots? And I'm sure I know the answer, but just so there's no confusion, your post does not include, from what I can tell, any follow-up response to the chief or anyone on this behalf. Can you confirm or deny the following? Did the chief or anyone else email you back as of Sunday, 3/1/26, 7:30 p.m.? Did he or anyone else call, text, or answer or attempt to answer you in any other manner? To which she says, Mr. Bilbrey, I emailed the Chief Sloan on Thursday at 12:30. I have not received a response as of this evening. So thank you, Kate, for that, because I couldn't see it, but I know what I did. So, yeah, I got a real problem with this. I have a real problem with this, and this is something that I am going to start being extremely vocal about. I have been questioning this behind the scenes. I've been trying to get information on it, and the fact that they are so unwilling to give even the levelest, smallest, basic amount of information about this, to me, lets me know everything that I need to know about it. Lets me know I do not want it. I want the flock cameras gone. I was one of the people that spoke up at the meeting in both the Board of Works and the Redevelopment Commission when the flock cameras were brought forward. I said I did not want that to happen. I sat in the meeting with Ridenauer. Ridenauer and I talked after the meeting. We had text messages back and forth about this. I have been very against this from the get-go. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that I lived in London, England for a while. The most secure city in the world under CCTV camera shot, and it is perverse. I did not like that, but I'm not a British citizen, so I had very little to say. But by God, I am an American, and I do not like this. I do not think that this is a good thing. I am against this, and I think more people need to be against this. But the way that we can deal with it is right now, right out of the gate, we can just stop this because they didn't want to answer any questions about it. Okay, well, if you can't answer the most basic questions, then we've got nothing to talk about. What in the hell? So, this is definitely something that I am going to be becoming more outspoken on, both these drones, the flock cameras, and just police and AI in general, and the censorship. Unfortunately, only employees who worked at the. Yeah, you know what's really interesting? Thinking of spring is, I had a girl that used to work for him message me right around the time get in contact with me and talk to me about how his behavior was at the bank, and it was just atrocious. Okay, why not more regulations and visibility on flock cameras and the data associated with it versus no flock at all? Yeah, just because I just don't like the whole Big Brother concept of it, and that's basically just it. It might be irrational. I feel like with the way that we are in the world with just private business cameras and ring cameras, and everybody carrying one or two or three of these things and tablets and everything, they can find your GPS. They can track you down to, within a couple meters by having these phones. I just don't think that we need Big Brother, the eye in the sky, looking down and monitoring us, no matter how much regulation that it is. Flock's the only reason they found who killed Haley Busby. Let me tell you, that might very well be the case. And if they didn't have Flock, then they could have also just found that through good old-fashioned gumshoe police work, because amazingly enough, there have been cases solved with far less than Flock cameras since like the beginning of time. It does work. It does happen. It can happen. It happens all the time. And so, yeah, that doesn't saying, oh, we found the killer of Haley Busby, so yay Flock cameras. That doesn't do it, because let me tell you, I imagine if you would. Unfortunately, because of non-disclosures, I can't talk about what I was trying. I don't know. I need to sit down with an attorney and find out exactly what I can talk about, how I can talk about what I want to talk about with that. I have been the victim. That's all I can say at this point. I'm just not a fan of I'm not a fan of the police having the ability to molest me in my travel or my going around. As a former police officer, I am not willing to allow myself to be molested, because we need to find a criminal. There are other ways to do it. It's been done for since the beginning of time. And it's just like, well, this is easier. Now cops can get fatter and lazier and dumber. So, yeah, I'm not into that. I'm not into that. There's other ways to do it. But, the problem is more oversight, regulations, and all of that. We're talking about corrupt people. We're talking about people who are. We're talking about politicians, and so far, I've not found really a one of them that I can be happy with for longer than a couple of years. So, unfortunately, Karen, because of a non-disclosure, it's lawsuit related stuff. So unfortunately, because of non-disclosure, that's all I can say at this time. I'll find out exactly what I can say and what I can't, just to be careful. But I want to play it cautious here at the beginning. So I'm not trying to make any bigger battles or open any old wounds when I don't need to. Okay, moving on. Tomorrow's meeting will be crazy. It will be big, and we will be there, and we will show it. I do want to talk about this just briefly before we roll out of here. So I said to remember the pin in the hat about the GOP Republican chairman and the thing with Nora and him talking and them saying, oh, I don't know who this is or whatever. Well, I'm going to tie this into the Delaware County GOP situation. Delaware County GOP. Okay, we were talking about we're talking about Henry County earlier. We were talking about Madison County and all these different places. Delaware County's Republican Party is Tim Overton. He's the chairman. Jessica Piper is the vice chair. Joe Boyce is the secretary, and Aubrey Christ was the treasurer. Now, Aubrey Christ is a lawyer. Keep in mind, she's a lawyer that works at Beasley Gilkinson. So she works at the law firm that is the law firm for Dan Ridenhour for the City of Muncie, the mayor's office. They are the administration's lawyers, Beasley Gilkinson. Mark Irvin is one of them, and Aubrey Christ is one of them. She works for Ridenhour. She works for the mayor's administration. She's also now, or has been, or was at least for a while, the treasurer for the Republican Party. Okay. Well, Aubrey Christ is also the daughter of current council president Jeff Green. Amazing. Look at how all of that goes. How incestuous we are. Okay. It's just everybody's on top of everybody else and they all do the same thing. It's just so weird. Well, I have heard a story that for the District 34 state house race, Richard Ivy's running, Randall McAllister's running on the Republican side. The Democrat side is Sarah Gullion. And then a man named Chris Walker was going to run, and that was who Dan was polling for. Well, then I heard that Dan got mad because Tim wanted to push Walker out, but Walker wouldn't budge. So because he wouldn't budge, Tim Overton, as the party chairman, decided to file to run. Stupid. Well, after he filed to run, he then decided to file a challenge against Walker. So Walker withdrew. So since Walker withdrew, Tim withdrew. So it looked like just total nonsense. It looked like complete just buffoonery. Okay, it's not what should be happening in a city and a county. That's ridiculous. Tim is not a leader. He does not know what he's doing. His head is so far up his ass. He honestly is just in the dark all the time. Well, I heard after all of that craziness, I've heard from a couple of really good sources that Aubrey Christ got mad and she resigned her position with the Central Committee. So, that's interesting. Very strange. What's happening here? Are we seeing cracks in this facade? So I reached out to Tim Overton. I tried calling him and he didn't answer. I then tried to send him an email. And he didn't not an email, a text message, and he didn't respond. And so I sent him another text message, and the text message just says, "Did Aubrey Christ leave her position as Central Committee member?" To which he sends me this. "Hello there, Bilbrey. Thanks for reaching out. I was very disappointed that you recorded our private phone call without my knowledge or consent. While legal, it's certainly unethical. For this reason, I will not be responding to your future communications. Hope you can understand my decision. If I have something that needs sharing, I'll contact you. No hard feelings. And have a great weekend." To which I respond, "Tim, no, that text you sent is not the text of a leader. Bad boy. It's weak. Don't be weak. As far as your disappointment goes, get in line. I'm disappointed about a lot too. Do you want me to share what disappoints me? No. I didn't think you would want me to share all of that with you. LOL. Anyway, honestly, I think it's more a case of the call you made to me made you look foolish, and you don't like that people were able to hear it. You should be able to stand behind your words, Tim. But if you want to hide from me, that's your choice. It's just a bad choice. That said, it shouldn't stop you from being able to respond by text. So again, I'll ask, did Aubrey Christ leave her position as Central Committee member?" And he wouldn't respond to me. So I belong in a Republican group chat with a bunch of different Republicans and Tim Overton. So I thought, okay, well, here's what I'll do. I'll respond in this group and I'll see what needs to be said. So this is what I said. Hey, can anybody in here text and ask Chairman Gomer, who is also in here, and ask him if Aubrey Christ left her position with the Delaware County GOP Central Committee? I've tried calling and texting him, but he won't reply to me because he called me 2 months ago spouting some bullshit, and I pushed back on his obviously fake narrative, and I called it out as bullshit. Well, in the days after our phone call, I attempted to verify his claims, and while doing that, there were people within the mayor's administration and elsewhere telling me that what I was saying wasn't true. They were saying that I was lying. So I did what I had to do, and I released our call, and I made in it, and unfortunately, it made Gomer look dumb, which hurt his pride. And now he says he won't talk to me on the phone or even through text ever again. I told him as a man and as a chairman of the party, he should stand behind his words. If he speaks the truth, then the truth should stand. But alas, here we are. So could one of you kindly ask him the following question? If Aubrey Christ left her position with the Delaware County GOP Central Committee? To which Tim Overton did respond to me and said, "Hello, Bilbrey. Thanks for reaching out. I was very disappointed that you recorded our private phone call without my knowledge or consent. While legal, it's certainly unethical. For this reason, I'll not be responding to your future communications. Hope you can understand my decision. If I have something that needs sharing, I'll contact you. No hard feelings and have a great weekend." Well, what's he going to do when I approach him tomorrow? A Republican said, "Did she quit, Tim?" Another Republican said, "I will say Aubrey has always been very kind to me. So this is a good question, if she left or not." I wrote back, "Tim, lying is far more unethical. There was nothing unethical about a member of media recording a phone conversation with a Politico. Dude, you're going to have to toughen up and pull your head out of your ass and get in the game. Wake up. I don't have hard feelings that you're trying to play childish games like hiding and whatnot. But if you're only this far in and you think that you too are going to start hiding from people and not communicating, then you need to step down. I would have thought the military would have taught you a thing or two about leading from the front. I guess it did not. This is politics, son. It's the big boy sports. You can't just cower in the corner and think that's going to cut it." Spank, spank. Here's the problem. Tim will never outdo me at anything. Ever. Yeah, it's a yes or no question. What is he afraid of? If he says yes, I'm going to be like, "Look, Tim said Aubrey quit." Or if he says no, so the answer is yes, she quit, right? Because if she didn't quit, he says, "Where did you get this? This is false news. You're an idiot." But he didn't say that. But he did not say that. So, I don't know. Tim is an idiot. But all of this goes back to letting me know, going to Nora's page and looking at what Nora put out, and that she tried to talk to Tim, and Tim told her he didn't know, and the mayor doesn't want to talk, that everything Tim told me was a flat-out false, flat fucking lie. And he's an idiot, man. Just totally an idiot. I just don't know, man. I'm so sick of all of it. I just can't hardly deal with it. I just can't hardly deal with it. So that's that. I have a couple other people tomorrow I'll reach out to find out about Aubrey Christ. We'll find out. Well, oh, man, breaking news. Wife of Representative Jim Baird dies in complications after D.C. car crash. Ooh, that's crazy. Crazy. Okay, that was just a little bit of breaking. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about was the Muncie Mall, and we'll talk about that this week. I'm not going to go on any longer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a long day tomorrow, so eat your breakfast, eat your lunch, and pack a snack, because I think tomorrow's going to be a wild one. I'm just going to tell you that if the council meeting goes long, plan on us not having a show. We're going to plan on having a show. I'm going to make a live on location for the show, and I'm going to make episode 614 for after. But if it goes long, if it goes as long as the last one or longer, then we'll just kick 614 to Tuesday. Hopefully we'll be able to get it in tomorrow, but I'm just telling you, if we're not out of there, if the meeting goes 2.5 or 3, 4 hours, we'll cancel it. So just FYI, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. God bless each and every one of you. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Nick and his family and all the people involved with that. And we'll see what goes on. Hey, don't forget, we still have the contest thing. It's just, I'll be honest, it's just not been the time to do it because of everything going on. We are going to get it done. I do have some good people that have sent them some things in. Since we do have a little bit of extra time, I will just say, if you're somebody out there that wants to be involved, you can record that on your voice recorder or your audio recorder or your video recorder, however you record crap on your phone. Record it and send it to me on Messenger, send it to me in phone, email it, whatever, get it to us, send it to Kate, whatever. I don't know exactly when we'll do it. What we'll probably do is we'll probably just keep it on through Thursday. So we'll do it, and then Thursday we can play them. We can play what we have. You guys can vote, and then the top several people that vote, then I'll have another thing for you. So it's a two-parter, but we'll get you taken care of. You guys have a good evening. Have a good start to the work week, and we'll see you all tomorrow at the meeting, and then maybe afterwards or whatever the hell goes on. So you guys take care. Good night. Goodbye.